Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Matt Rhule, this Nebraska program continued the momentum on the recruiting trail, landing another commitment, this one coming from four-star defensive lineman Malcolm Simpson from the state of Texas. And if you were to look up the ideal prospect for Matt Rhule out of the recruiting trail, you'd probably see a picture of this kid. This is exactly what Matt Rhule wants to get from the recruiting trail. And a guy that when you just start looking at the athletic profile, it sounds like he's upwards of 6'5", 260 pounds now, and a guy that in my mind is not even close to scratching the surface of the physical development that you're going to see take place. I mean, he's a solid football player right now as you dive into the junior year film, but the upside that this kid has, what he's going to look like year 2, year 3 within this Nebraska program, that's really what stands out to me. He's a basketball player too. You see that athleticism on the football field, a ton of length, a really good first steps, got some heavy hands, and a guy that's extremely versatile on the defensive line as well, right? Sitting right now at 6'5", 260 pounds with plus athleticism. He can come off the edge, but he can also play that 3-tech. You look at the Tony White defense and how they move around defensive linemen all along the line of scrimmage. These are the type of players that are vital in terms of what Tony White wants to do on the defensive side of the football. Fired up for this kid, not only who he is right now, but what he can be once he gets 20, 21 years old. This is a kid that I think has some massive upside at the collegiate level. And we talk about this all the time. Like, what kind of kids does Matt Rhule want out of the high school recruiting class? Give me the kids that might not be physically developed right now as 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, but give me the kids that have all the athletic traits that we want. We'll get them into the program. We'll get them developed physically, and they'll emerge as really, really good college football players. I think Malcolm Simpson is kind of that type of prospect. Really excited to get into the film, talk about, how he fits in to this Nebraska defense. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys and to the Nebraska fans. It's been a blast talking this program, breaking this program down on the recruiting trail, all the Go Big Reds, all the support you guys throw in the comment section. It means the world. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Going to be a very exciting next couple of weeks and months for this Nebraska program on the recruiting trail. And without further ado, let's get into Malcolm Simpson. I think the first thing you want to talk about, two-sport athlete, a phenomenal basketball player as well. We talk about this. Matt Rhule loves multi-sport athletes. And then you get into Malcolm Simpson, and I think the two things that I really like about this commitment is, one, the versatility that he has on the defensive line. We talked about it in the intro. I think it is extremely important that if you are going to play defensive line for this Nebraska program, you got to be versatile. You got to be able to play multiple spots on that defensive line. You look at Malcolm Simpson, again, sitting at 6'5", 260 pounds. He has the athleticism and the length to come off the edge as an elite edge rusher, but also a guy that has the frame to put on some weight and also play on the inside of the defensive line as well and really challenge interior offensive linemen from an athletic standpoint. Again, he is 6'5", 260, really, really long arms. He's kind of a box checker in terms of the athletic profile that you're looking for. And I think kind of probably flying under the radar to a lot of Power 5 programs because he's not necessarily fully developed. Those are the kind of guys that Matt Rhule wants in this program. The guys that, all right, you might not be a contributor year 1, but you start talking about year 2, year 3, year 4. This is when you're going to see this kid really hit the ground running for this Nebraska program. You get into the film, and there is, in my mind, just so much to like. And he plays that 3-3-5 defense at the high school level. You see him play as an edge rusher. You see him play on the inside of the defensive line, makes an impact from all sorts of spots on the defensive line. First rep you see working against this right tackle here at the top of our screen. You're going to see him just, hey, we're going to use our juice off the line of scrimmage, attack this outside shoulder, use some of that length, play with some low pads, cut the corner, go get the quarterback. Again, you see the speed rush, and I think that's what's really exciting is a guy at 6'5", 250 pounds getting off the football, challenging tackles from an athletic standpoint. That's really exciting. But you continue to work through the film and say, I mean, he impacts this game from a multitude of spots on the defensive line. Next one you hear is kind of shaded on the inside of the tackle here, and he's not going to get blocked. He's going to get behind the line of scrimmage, functional athlete in space, making tackles. probably a bad idea not to block this kid if you're trying to run the football. But then you see him again. I mean, we are going to impact on the defensive line from a multitude of spots, working really head up on the center right now, kind of that nose tackle spot. You see the get off, you see the challenge that he has with interior offensive linemen getting into the backfield, creating some of those negative plays. You can stand him up on the edge. You can play him on the inside of the defensive line. He's consistently behind the line of scrimmage, using that athleticism. You kind of see it. There is a lot of room for this kid, not only to physically develop, but develop as a football player too. It's a lot of reliance on just being a bigger, stronger, faster athlete than the offensive linemen that are trying to block him. But you get him into this program, you teach him how to use that length a little bit more. I think the upside of what this kid can be is very, very high at the next level. And I love that he plays in that 3-3-5 defense kind of at the high school level, because he's used to kind of moving around, impacting the defensive line from a multitude of different ways. Getting behind the line of scrimmage again, just really testing these interior offensive linemen. It's a really hard block for this left guard here. And he gets behind, kind of deals with a little bit of a hold there, makes the play. I think this is a perfect fit for this Tony White defense. And we had the conversation a lot. You look at how Nebraska wants to operate on the recruiting trail. Yes, we want to get really good football players from the high school ranks. We also want to get guys that fit what we want to do as a program, whether that's the schematics of our defense, which certainly fits Malcolm Simpson. But I think more importantly, these schematics of being a developmental program, getting guys in that have all the athletic traits that we want, will coach them up to be good football players. And you look at what Nebraska's doing on the recruiting trail. This is going to be their 11th commitment. I think you did a really good job, and we talked about this, cleaning up your backyard, recruiting the state of Nebraska. You get kind of those layups in, the guys that you want in-state coming to Nebraska. Now we're going to go across the country and get it done. We go to California and land 4-star quarterback TJ Lateef. We go to the state of Missouri, land 4-star running back Jamarian Parker. Now going to the state of Texas, landing one of the top defensive linemen from the state of Texas, beating out Texas A&M on the recruiting trail. That's the blueprint every single year for Nebraska. Get your kids in state, then go across the country, start plucking guys from all over the country. Another really good football player, but more importantly, just fits what Nebraska wants to do on the recruiting trail. We'll close it at that. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Y'all know it's a blast for me talking this program. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Talk to y'all later. Peace.